All right, welcome to Monday Night Chan. Let's join palms and bow. The four great bows. I vow to deliver innumerable sentient beings. I vow to cut off endless vexations. I vow to master limitless approaches to Dharma. I vow to attain supreme Buddhahood. Good evening. So today's session is going to be an informal Q&A. And it's really more of an ask me anything. So this is an opportunity for you to ask me about questions about, establishing your daily practice, about any difficulties that you're facing in your daily practice, or questions about experiences from your daily practice, or about practicing in your daily life, questions, comments, or Dharma questions as well. So the floor is open. You would have to raise your hand so that I can see you, because I don't have a co-host, so I'm going to have to see you and then unmute you. Hey, Sam.
Hey, Sentha. Thank you for holding class tonight, and I really appreciate the format of this because I always do have a lot of questions. One thing I was literally thinking is you said Q&A, was that I wanted to ask you some questions about daily practice, and then you literally said daily practice, so nice setup. But I did want to ask, what can we do, or what do you do or have done to further or add depth to your daily practice? Because if I may, my daily practice consists of seated meditation session, first the eight form moving meditations, then seated meditation, followed by I recite the Heart Sutra, the four great vows, the three refuges, and the five precepts, and then basically what the morning services at DDM, and then usually I'll study. So I'll usually read some sutras, or I'll read Master Sheng Yen's content, or koans, or huatao. But I'm sure there's many things that I'm not doing or I'm not aware of. So I was wondering if there are some things you could suggest to.
Yeah. So first off, I'd say, deep appreciation for doing so much in your daily practice. So that's wonderful. That's wonderful that you're doing this. So I would probably start by asking you some questions. So how is your meditation sit? So I'm assuming that, the formal aspect of your meditation, you're doing seated meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And how long do you do that for? And what is it like?
So I usually now go for either a 45-minute session, or I'll do 30-minute sessions, but I'll break it up into two. Sometimes I find that there are pros, cons to each, but I just do counting the breath 1 through 10 and then return. I don't do any other methods, but my experiences can be somewhat inconsistent, because sometimes I get really caught up in either the impurities of the body, or I'll kind of struggle with staying on the method. But then there are days where the method comes like as natural as the breath itself. And I'll talk a lot with Frank. I'm not sure if he's on today, but we'll talk a lot about jhanas and just the actual states that are experienced. But I find that I'm a little inconsistent, and I'm not sure if it's because of I'm being a noob, or if it's because of how I'm approaching meditation.
And are you consistent about actually meditating?
By when you say that, do you mean like
meaning is it like most days of the week? What is it like, the frequency in terms of
Oh, so since I started going to Dharma Drum Mountain, I I want to say that was back in November, December. I established a pretty consistent daily practice. I miss sometimes 1 to 2 days a week, but I try to do it every day as much as I can.
That's wonderful. That's amazing. That's awesome. So I have one small suggestion. I would suggest that you do the vows before your meditation.
Hmm. Okay, thank you. That's
So
yeah.
yeah, because the vows give you direction and it opens your heart. When you say the vows with meaning, really meaning them, it really opens your heart.
Hmm.
You
Oh,
will find that if you could say the vows with like wholeheartedly, that would establish the tone of your meditation.
okay. It's kind of doing it before. I feel like that really sets the atmosphere and kind of puts you in that place, ahead of time rather than assuming that it's just going to be done after. So thank you so much, Santha. Thank you.
So I would suggest that. And then the other thing that I would say is that, there are days when your meditation is not, there are days when your meditation sit is not calm, as calm and as clear as you would like it to be. What I would say about that is do not confuse um, the the result and the work.
Okay.
As a result of meditating, there will be more calmness and more clarity in your day. There may be days when your meditation is calm and clear. There may be days when it's not.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
So, so, whatever is coming up naturally. Whatever is coming up according to causes and conditions. Whatever is coming up perfectly. So the nature of what comes up is perfect. Is we call it Buddha nature. There's a what all phenomena are perfectly arising, including the phenomena that appear as um, distractions.
Okay.
Okay, and when you can hold it like that, then you are not you're not at war with what comes up, and you're not at war with yourself. Okay,
It's
so,
hard to remember that sometimes, but
so if
thank you.
you
Yeah, you're
go
right.
meditating like this, like this, like this, right,
Yeah.
you'll have a hurt, swollen self. Okay, it's not like the self is just going to diminish because you've been like hitting it hard.
If anything, it'll probably stay there the more you hit it, right?
Yeah, so you want to be compassionate towards what arises.
Thank you so much, Santa. Thank you.
Okay, and saying the vows is a great way to establish the four great vows are um, a manifesto of compassion. So start there and really feel it, and then go into meditation and don't put yourself in opposition to what arises or to yourself. All right. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else with a question? Vadim?
Yeah, Santha, I think I asked this question once already, but I still don't have the answer, so I'll probably repeat it again. I know that you are doing a lot of intellectual work. My work is far from being as intellectual as yours, but I have that problem. When you are trying to resolve some difficult task, that comes up during your work, you get really so immersed in it or even sucked in that this state of meditation is completely lost. I'm not saying that I am often in it at all, but in this particular situation, when you really work hard on a mental task, you lose this non-discriminating awareness, and your focus is very narrow, and I'm talking about myself, and I don't know how to deal with this problem, because there are days when you have to do this really from morning till evening, and that means that the whole day is sort of lost.
Yeah.
And
so,
I don't know how to deal with it.
Okay.
So maybe you can suggest.
Yeah, I'm going to start with saying that when I started meditating, you know, I've read like about like I remember, I think it was like a Vipassana, like a Western Vipassana teacher who had talked about how they trained with a master in the East, a Vipassana master in the East, and how the master would say, "Do you remember when you put on your shoes this morning?" And then they would be like, "Nope." And you know, there's a moment that you were not mindful. So I used to think that, oh, this means that I must be mindful of everything at all times. The nature of attention is that it is flexible and it is possible to attend to something that is teeny tiny and vast. Now, if your job, say your job is like you're a pathologist and you're working on, you know, identifying identifying what what organism is in a specimen or whatever, something like that, and you're going to be like really focused and on something really teeny tiny, right? Now, while you're focused on that teeny tiny thing, your awareness can still be vast. So the focus is tiny, at the same time awareness is still vast, can still be vast. Or you could be outside, you know, especially like in a, so say a place in nature that's like shocks you with its beauty. Then you're like aware of everything around you, and your attention is like spread on everything around you. So it's possible for attention to be like focused, or for attention to be like spread out, or and for you to be aware of this, right? So there's like awareness can be vast and attention can be focused. It can be like spacious. It could be spacious, or it could be like, you know, it could be like your attention could also be like, oh my gosh, I've got to do this, that, and the other thing. It could be completely scattered. Or it could be like, you know, sometimes we are like it's like unclear, foggy. We could be foggy. We could be foggy. We could be scattered. We could be spacious. We could be very focused. Now, the moment you recognize that your attention is, say, foggy or your attention is scattered, what is recognizing that fogginess or that scatteredness is awareness. So can you take a few moments, like 10 seconds during your day, to just notice what is aware of this? What is so what is it that is so scattered? And you wouldn't do it again, you wouldn't do it as though you were like blaming yourself for being so scattered, or blaming yourself for being so foggy, so unclear. It's like compassionate curiosity with warmth. Can you ask, what is it that's aware right now? What is it that is scattered right now? What is it that's foggy right now? Han Shan, said that practice is simply according with whatever state of mind you're in. So the state of mind that you're in is not a problem. It could be, any of these or some combination that that is whatever it is right now. The state of mind is not a problem. Can you be with whatever state of mind that there is right now? So, Vadim, what do you think?
Still hard for me to understand. I can sort of probably get what you mean by noticing that you are scattered and coming back to yourself. But
No, hold on. I'm not saying know that you're scattered and come back to yourself, because there is nothing to come back to. Right? Yeah, it's not like you're on a straight and narrow road and you went off this way and then come back to that straight road. Right? So it's like you're on this road and everywhere around you is danger and you just hold on to this road. I'm not saying that. Let me see what other analogy I could give you. It's like say there is a stream. I'm trying to explain this. I've never explained before. Say there's a stream, right? So what I'm trying to say, and then say that there's a boat like bobbing on the stream, right? What I'm saying is just become aware that it's still water that's flowing. That's all. You're still on the water. You're on a boat, but you're still on the water. Right? So it's a shift. It's not like a don't go veering off here. No, it's just a shift to something that's already there. It's a shift that from what is like happening on the screen to the very fact that it is happening on a screen. So it's not like all the time that you're in a movie, you need to be looking at the screen. But it's just it's always on the screen. So just become aware of the screen once in a while and know that it is just on the screen. That's all. So it's not hard. It's more like, okay. And just a few moments like that, it builds steam. Okay, tell me what you think.
Okay, thank you.
No.
On.
If it doesn't sound doable, I want to.
I'm still not getting as maybe erroneously I see it. One of the problems is that in practice is that I get lost in thought, right? And when thought is your work, it seems like almost necessary to get lost in it. For instance, if I'm doing an intense mental task, right?
Tell me a little bit about what kind of work that you do.
I'm a finance person. So, for instance, there is a complex model and some figures do not match up, or I have to figure out what's wrong.
All right. Okay.
And I'm totally in there, and I'm Gilbert Big has this series of lectures, Turning the Mind's Eye Inward, right? And he's talking, I'm just started to listen to them. They're absolutely great. And I go very slowly. And he's talking about maintaining this total awareness, sort of, right? And this is, in this particular instance, when I'm immersed in a task at work, it doesn't work. There is no awareness. There is this focus, as you said, attention to this tiny bit, but no, this overall awareness is lost.
Okay. All right. Okay. I feel like there is still a misunderstanding in what you're supposed to do. So it's not like you have to be aware of it's not like if you're a scientist, you're looking down the microscope. That's your job. It's not like you have to be aware of the room also while you're looking down the microscope. You are, if you're looking down the microscope, then you're looking down the microscope. That's what you're doing. The question is there a lack of clarity at that time? Is there a lack of calm at this time? Is because if there is calmness and clarity, but what you're working on is like so teeny tiny, that's okay. Is there a lack of calmness and clarity while you're fully engaged in what you're doing?
I would say when there is intense concentration, probably there is. But then my question would be, what would be the difference between two people? Let's say one is a scientist who is doing Chan meditation, the other is not doing it. Okay. And let's say the one who is doing Chan meditation, he is more scattered, and the scientist who is not doing Chan meditation, he is more focused on his work because he likes it and he's really in there. So it means he's a better practitioner even though he doesn't practice Chan.
So see that there's focused, scattered, and spacious, right? I'm seeing that there is you'd rather be doing work where your attention is in the spacious mode rather than the focus mode. You can be focused and calm and clear. You can be spacious and calm and clear. I'm talking about just the the extent of what you're working on, right? Where your attention is at. And you may have heard of the theory of like flow, where flow is a state where you're like completely one with what you're doing. Now, so where Chan is that it's beyond just being one with what you're doing, but it is beyond, meaning that it transcends being one with what you're doing. It is more than being one with what you're doing. Okay, so it is not versus being one with what you're doing. And if you can hit the being in the flow, then that's wonderful. So what happens when people are in that flow state is that they are fully concentrated on what they're doing. There is no resistance to what they're doing, which is why I asked you if there's a lack of clarity or calmness. So if there is clarity and there's calmness, that means you're fully engaged in what you're doing, and you're fine with being fully engaged in what you're doing. And you could enter flow state. And that's not a bad way to do your work. And it is possible to transcend flow state, but flow state is not bad. So what is stopping you from being calm and clear and fully involved in what you're doing at work?
Scattered thoughts, sometimes the pressure of understanding that I have to do this really quick and right within a sort of specified period of time that creates worry, anxiety, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Not always, but quite often.
Yeah. So now we are getting into the juicy part. So, so how I would suggest you approach this is to reduce the friction that's being caused by all of this, right? So you have scattered thoughts and you have frustrations, maybe. Let's just pick those couple of things, right? So that is thinking that is not that's like taking you away from your work. And then there is frustrations, some emotions also that's taking you away from this work, right? So it's easy enough to look at these and to say, hey, where is this coming from? Right? So if you're frustrated, it looks like I want something other than what's going on here, right? And this is natural, right? It is natural. We are human beings and we are not automatons. So it's natural. And, and if it happens a lot, then it may be worthwhile for you to look at what is it that you're needing. What is it where is this frustration coming from, and see if you can find a way to like resolve that frustration. And a scattered thought is also coming from whatever is going on in your life that is maybe bothering you by this coming up right now. So you can either like put that down separately to be handled later. And if it is something that is recurring, you find some time to handle that so that you can be fully involved in what you're doing. So and that's method, and that's method when you're working. So when we sit on the cushion, when we start meditating, we are like, when we're doing like following the breath, what are we doing? We are bringing the scattered mind together, right? So that's often how we start. We start with it's the calming the mind. We start by emphasizing silence, which is the shamatha, and often the very beginning meditation is about like counting the breath, which is just like moving from scattered mind to the concentrated mind, and that's the part that I would suggest that you do at work, right? And you don't need to do it by counting the breath when you're working. You do it by bringing yourself back to the work. And it's instead of bringing yourself back to the breath, you're bringing yourself back to the work, but you're doing this with compassion, where everything that takes you away from your work is, you regard that as natural, meaning that it's coming up from causes and conditions, and it is the perfect functioning of mind, right? You don't say that that's the enemy, and you don't say that I'm a bad person for being distracted like this. So you don't make yourself up to become an enemy. And as you do this, then you're gonna get less distracted, and you'll enter flow state. That's a great way to practice when you're at work. Yeah, is that doable?
Yes, I think it is. Thank you very much, Santha.
You're welcome. Hi, Tori.
Hi, Santha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So what you have suggested the previous members who are asking questions is that whatever that comes up during meditation, that's causes and conditions. So I would be that observer of whatever that comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm not tired, when I'm energetic, and it really doesn't matter if I have scattered brain or just too many thoughts or too busy before I sit down and meditate. I can actually just relax and just watch everything, all the thoughts and everything, and I will feel very clear. I have no problem. My biggest issue is when I'm not as energized, when I'm sleepy, when I'm tired. And I can do it to a certain degree as I'm getting tired and kind of sink into that more like subconscious, kind of like getting close to, your theta and delta is coming up, the brain waves, right? So you start having some like images and like dream state, almost like dream state. And sometimes I can still watch them. Sometimes I'm not able to. And again, I do see that as causes and conditions, and I just keep observing them. But sometimes when I'm not able to observe them anymore, then it's no longer a meditation. I would consider that. And it gets frustrating. And of course, now, as I'm hearing how you have suggested previous members' questions, so I guess my frustration, I would just be the observer of my frustration. So I'm not practicing correctly.
So no, so it's like it's very challenging to practice when you're sleepy, right? So, and actually it is possible, it's possible to be fully relaxed and fully aware and just watching even the drowsiness go by. That's possible. But most likely you're just like, taken into, the half dream, half awake kind of a state. Now, given a lot of time, right? Given a lot of time, it's possible to so fully relax that you maintain awareness even through that. It's possible to do that. And there are entire practices in other traditions where there is dream awareness, maintaining awareness during dreaming and sleeping. So it's all of that is very possible. However, if you're not doing that as a practice, right? If you're just doing your sitting meditation as a practice, I would say, and you're sleepy, I would say, why would you choose to do sitting meditation? So why not try standing meditation, for instance? Right? Why not just do some standing meditation, or just some moving meditation? If I'm assuming that this is your sacred time of your day when you've set it aside for meditation. At that time you're just tired, you may be sleepy, and let me see where you okay there. You're sleepy, and just continuing with your meditation practice is important. You don't want to just say, forget it, I'm sleepy today, because keeping that habit going is important. Why not try standing, or moving meditation, or very slow prostration? Just, it would be those are meditations too. So that's what I would suggest if you're that day you're sleepy, then change the way you meditate.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And sometimes I feel that, I think I'm really sleepy. I don't think I'm gonna have a very clear session. But sometimes that does the opposite, and so I can't really tell whether this is gonna be, I'm gonna fall asleep. And sometimes I feel okay, and then when I get into meditation, I start falling asleep. So yeah. I wouldn't know until I actually start meditating for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Maybe it's by then, if I'm getting sleepy, I'll just get up and do moving meditation or prostration, slow prostration. And I think that's a great suggestion, still, to incorporate that into the daily practice. And right now, I just do it on the days that, I know for sure that I'm not waking up too early, on my break days or certain work day that I go into late, and I would, meditate during those morning, later in the morning when I'm not as tired. But early in the morning, 5 or 6, I would just fall asleep. I'm just not a morning person, I guess. But it's great. Thank you. I'll maybe just start incorporating some moving or standing prostration meditation. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Anybody else with a question? It could be about daily practice, sitting practice, well, I should say formal practice and informal practice, or a Dharma question. Hi, Robert. I'm trying to unmute. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I thought I'd share just a little bit of how I practice, or how I integrate chant into my daily life. Before, my profession was a software designer, systems that have several millions lines of logic. So it's a lot of mind, highly concentrated mind work. But that was before I learned Chan. I mean, yeah, so it's too bad I didn't know Chan when I learned programming, when I do my work. But when I, 5 years ago, when I came to Dharma Drum, I learned something called, uh, it's like staying in, almost like they call it staying in the moment. Uh, for those who speak Mandarin may know the word is called 当下. So what I learned is when let's say every day I have to help my wife prepare food. Uh, in the old days, I probably don't know what I'm doing, but I still finish preparing the food. But the last several years, I my mind has nothing when I'm preparing food, but I'm so completely in one task in every single, literally almost every second. I know when I turn on the water. I know when I separate the vegetables. I know how I peel the onion. I know every cut when I cut the onion, when I prepare the meat, how I cut the meat, how I slice, how I dice, how I separate it into little one, how I put them from left side to the right side. So the whole process of preparing food, in the old days, probably I had it done in 15 minutes. But after I came to Dharma Drum, I kind of enjoy preparing food. My wife now say, how come it takes you 45 minutes to prepare something that would have took you 15 minutes? And I say, I don't know, I just enjoy doing it. Uh, it's very meditative, very calm. My mind is only on every single task, every single function. Now that I look back, I don't know whether I am the one doing it. I mean, the me, Robert, doing it, or the mind is doing it, or kind of superimpose the mind on me doing all those simple, very simple daily tasks. So that become one meditation sitting. Well, of course, I'm standing in the kitchen. After then my wife do the cooking. Then I retreat to do my other things. After that, during the lunch or dinner, of course, the eating part of the process, I enjoy every single moment, the whole 30 minutes, picking up the bowl, drinking the soup, enjoying every single taste of it. And then I have another half an hour of washing dishes. I prefer to hand wash my dishes. Normally, again, it took me 5 minutes and I broke some utensil, spoons and everything and glass. But nowadays, I haven't broke a glass in 4 years because I put my mind in every single second, putting the soap, turning on the faucet, organizing the dish, and then literally every single moment. Even at this time, if you ask me, do I still remember today what I did? Like, did I wear my shoes? How did I wear my shoes? How did I cut my onion? How do I rinse plate number 6, which is a blue plate, is a flat one. It's almost like, it's very enjoyable. It's like a moving meditation. Literally, I mean, many of you gone to Chan retreat, you have moving meditation. But you can also do moving meditation in a lot of things you do in your daily life. Uh, so I thought I just share because I can't sit on the cushion all day long, but there's a lot of things I need to do at home. And I
Yes.
try to turn them into something I can kind of take advantage of that piece of the time. So I
Right.
thought I'll share a little bit what I did.
Thank you, Robert. And you know what Robert just talked about? That's flow, and that's always available, and easier sometimes when you're like aware, you're physically doing a task versus the mental task, but it is totally possible when you're doing mental tasks as well. So this is, when I talk to you, Vadim, about, dealing with each distraction and just coming back as part of your workflow, what it could look as beautiful as what Robert said, when you get into that flow state. And one wonderful way to go about this is to do this, on like, you're walking to get, a cup of tea, or, that there's like little moments in your work life where, you're on your coffee break, you're walking to the restroom, you're walking to a colleague's office. Those little parts could be these interludes of moment to moment full awareness. And maybe that's all that there is in the beginning. And then during your work, you're doing this, moving from like scattered mind to concentrated mind just with your work. And then all of these pieces will start to connect together. And the whole day will become this flow, that awareness is just the whole day is just awareness. So that becomes possible. In the beginning, you only have like this little piece here, that little piece here. Maybe Robert started with cutting his vegetables, just doing dishes. And then soon it's all just like connecting. And if you can do that, then what happens is that we only have like a few minutes of the day we can sit on the cushion, but then the whole day is available for practice. Yeah. Thank you, Robert. Thank you for sharing. Sam?
First, I just wanted to thank Robert. I thought that was really insightful how he described those experiences, because to me, that was seeing the Buddha in everything you're doing, or seeing mindfulness, or seeing mind in everything you're doing, and it's turning, daily life into a spiritual practice. But my next question I had was, Sentha, what is the sutra you feel most connected to, or you feel that really rung true to you, I guess, because I probably don't have the right way of describing it. And then to follow that up, I wanted to ask if you have any advice on how we should be approaching sutras when we go to study them.
Sure. I'm working on the Buddha Nature Treatise after Gilbert's last talk. I keep going back to it, but that's the one that I'm working with right now. It's always changing. So it's not like there's only one or one favorite. What is definitely, what is like something I'm working on right now. There's always that. Yeah. So when you're studying, you approach studying the sutras as though it were meditation. So it's the same silence and the same illumination you bring to the studying of the sutra. And you move beyond the words in front of you to what is evoked by the words. To move beyond the words to what the words are pointing at. And one of one of the most precious gifts about the way that Gilbert teaches is when he's teaching, he is not just teaching the material, he's teaching you how to study. That is very precious, because then it's like don't give them don't give somebody fish, teach them how to fish. It's kind of like that. So it's like so when you're listening to Gilbert, approach it like he's teaching you how to study the sutras. And so when he's reading something to you, you could do this with like recorded lectures, right? Pause the lecture, and you see what that line is evoking for you, right? Just pause, and then listen some more, and pause and listen some more. So treat the sutras as an invitation to mind. That's all it is. Every line is just that.
Thank you.
Every line is just that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Robert?
Yeah. I thought I share something that might be useful to Sam, because I'm also new to chant until, I only start learning chant 2017 October. That's when I first met Gilbert. And at that time we used WeChat, it's another social media. And we don't have Zoom like we have nowadays. He usually write a lot in the WeChat, in the forum, and he will write a long message. And usually I have no idea what he's talking about. And I think Santa, you probably remember how that was. He write a lot, and then it's like, when you try to use your mind to understand what he wrote, it's impossible to comprehend. So what I did, and he say one word, he tell everybody, say, contemplate. And I think all of us wonder what does he mean by contemplate? Even we don't even contemplate. I don't even know what contemplate is 5 years ago. So what I did is I have this message that he wrote and on my phone. And every morning, as soon as I wake up, I read it. Because Gilbert mentioned in the morning, yourself is not as active. Your mind is more clear. It's kind of something like that he say. So I try to just read what he wrote without thinking. And I probably read close to 60 to 70 times a passage. And then it takes me about a week or two. Finally, the meaning of that passage just it just shows up. It's like, huh? It's like something just pops up. It is so funny and has nowhere near the words. And I'm sure Santa, Ian, Rongchen, and many of you guys have that meaning, have that experience. So over the years, he wrote many of those short passages. those are real gem. Those are gem. I save a lot of them, and then occasionally I'll go back and read them. And he is literally reading the sutra in his lecture, and then he was sharing with us in the previous social media.
So
And
I
now
just
he's doing
put a
it.
link to those Chan 101s,
Yeah, in
Robert.
Chan 101,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there is so much wonderful things in Chan 101. 101, 102, 103 in the last 3-4 years.
Mm-hmm.
They are so, it's almost like anti-mind, the Robert mind. Robert mind have no way of understanding it, but you have to contemplate by just read it without thinking. Just read without thinking, and not trying to do not read by volume. Trying to read a lot of words by volume, many books, many pages, many chapters, doesn't get you anywhere. You're just winning a competition of, I read a lot of books, but I don't understand. But but Gilbert already gave us many little, I don't know, Buddha tips,
Mm-hmm.
Buddha tidbits, a lot of them, many of them. So you just look for those, save them, and go over them 40, 50 times without thinking. I guarantee you,
Mm-hmm.
something will show up. I guarantee you.
Mm-hmm.
That's my experience.
Thank you, Robert. Anybody else with questions, comments? Also, transcribing is a wonderful practice because I just talked about listening and pausing and listening again. That's what you do when you transcribe. So, you could try it, take on a transcription to really experience a lecture like in slow motion, if you will. So that's another practice. Questions? Any more questions? Going once? Twice? And done. I'm gonna